All right. Well, thank you again so much, Brendan, for your time today. So, to start off, can you please give me a 1 minute summary of your business or organization or the type of work that you do relevant to the future of flourishing?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a human potential coach, and I work with individuals who are wanting to explore their ultimate conceptual idea of what it looks like to thrive. And with when I say that, it's really finding that balance between goal setting, personal growth, and ultimately just having a life that's well balanced and provides good strength for where they're at. The name of my country, my country, I just is Summit Energy Coaching. And I predominantly work with folks who are in a similar concept to myself, where they're looking at that next curve in life and wanting to explore opportunity and just expand their growth and what it comes next in life outside of perhaps a professional job or just new opportunities, and how can they explore that with a sound foundation for self and then exploring outside.
And you kind of touched upon this just now, but how would you further describe your target audience?
Mhm. Yeah, it's my target audience is someone who is feeling a little stuck. That could be as far as perhaps experiencing a period of burnout, or just looking to open up to new ideas, and perhaps they're also still relishing in a little bit of historical barriers that are preventing them from really being able to move forward and see that opportunity is unlimited in their and whatever they put their mindset or their heart to.
And what primary problem were you trying to solve when you enrolled in Flourish?
Yeah, I wouldn't really say that I was trying to solve any problems. I was really just expanding my path. I look at it as a wonderful opportunity. All of this exploration of human potential really is where it's widening my path and allowing me to see a little bit more in clarity for my own growth, but then also for my clients as well. And it wasn't so much as solving something as I was expanding.
Got it. Well, that's awesome. And I guess when you were considering potential opportunities for more growth and expansion, how long were you looking for, I guess, a potential solution before you founded the Future of Flourishing and the Flourish program in particular?
Yeah, I guess it's interesting. The best programs always find you. You're never looking for them, and I would say that the future of flourishing certainly fits that boat. I had come off of a couple of years of pretty in depth training and just doing a lot of development in those type of settings, and I thought I'm going to take a break. And then I saw that Claire was presenting this program, and I was also in the process of diving into a lot of work by Martin Seligman, with the positive psychology, and obviously flourishing is a big part of that. And with Claire at the helm and the rest of everyone that's involved, I knew that this was a program I couldn't say no to. So that's um, you know, it, I if something like this hadn't come along, I probably would have really not explored any other potential courses at this time. And I think that also the future of flourishing is remarkably unique in its exploration. Many programs do, kind of broaden out to, they either are super broad and try to capture everything, or they get super specific in their focus and intent. And the future of flourishing is remarkably unique in its capacity to just focus in on the four arcs and really just support, whether it's me as an individual, me in future work as far as introducing people to the future of flourishing, in its concise nature of and path of looking inside, looking at who's around you, seeing ways to explore what's next, how to apply, and then starting to look towards the future. And so to me, that was just so unique. And, it just feel pretty honored to be a part of the program.
Well, I'm so glad to hear that, Brendan, that you had an amazing experience. And obviously it was just so amazing on our end as well to have you be a part of that and to hear all of your contributions and insights. It really helped bring this to life. So thank you for that as well. So, I mean, going off of that previous line of thought, how has your experience been participating in Flourish?
It's been really good. I think that the program has been remarkably unique, as I just mentioned, and the engagement, the level of thought and detail, and I will, it did take me a little bit to like understand like, okay, kind of where are we going, but once I understood that, which was just a few weeks in, it was like an aha, like, okay, I turned the light bulb on, now we're good to go. And so that just totally expanded my experience in the program, and also just as the calls unfolded, we heard the amazing stories from everyone. We engaged on such a personable level with everyone who was involved with the program, and that was very enriching. So the experience has been very uplifting and positive.
And compared to other well-being or wellness or personal development programs, courses out on the market, what would you say was the unique point of difference for Flourish?
Yeah, I would say the content was particularly unique in its approach, as far as looking at self-awareness, looking at relationships, and that engagement through each of the arcs was unique, and it provided modalities for how to apply it in a regular fashion that did not feel overwhelmingly like perhaps intimidating maybe for some folks. But the work that we took home and did every week, the exploration was just very, very feasible and very appropriate. I found, without getting overly embellished or too confusing, and I think that the way it was presented, the way the classes unfolded to provide that helped it. Other courses that I've been in, they tend to embellish other things, and I think it's almost as if they're trying to cover too much in a period of time, and the message gets lost. And the message was never lost with the future of flourishing. It was very clear where we were going and what we were doing.
And what specific results have you achieved so far from Flourish?
I'd say probably a couple of the biggest things have been, probably the biggest thing has been just looking towards the future, and looking at contribution, the future thinking part, how my growth is just, the potential is endless for whatever we choose to apply. I also feel that, and I've used this in a couple of times now, where each one of the arcs to me kind of completes this whole circle, right? So you got arc 1, arc 2, arc 3, arc 4, and within that we can actually use it not only in kind of our long term, our long path, as Claire was, illustrating with regards to Ari's work, but then we can kind of pause, and we can also kind of come back to any particular goal or problem that we might be encountering in a specific moment, and we can apply the arc and the elements to that, and then it helps us break free to kind of establish that within something that we might be doing. There were 3 very distinct questions that came up that I've written down, and uniquely I come back and visit those. And those are kind of, what is holding you back? What is it costing you and the people you love? And what are you prepared to do to get out of your own way? And I revisit on those 3 questions all the time, because they really do help transform our potential within flourishing, and especially with the framework that's been laid out.
Those are good ones. I definitely agree. Always great to circle back to them, and the new revelations and insights that come up each time one re-asks those questions truly is remarkable. So moving forward, would you say that you are happy with the results from Flourish, and would you say that the program met your expectations?
It absolutely did. As I mentioned, I paused a little bit coming into it. just kind of trying to understand what is, kind of, you know, I guess I always want to see the end goal in mind, but I had to stop that for a minute and just look at each sequential piece. And then once it was all together, then I could fully appreciate its value. And so, no, hands down, it totally did. Yeah, I think that goes without saying.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
And can you think of a single word or a phrase that summarizes your experience participating in Flourish and why that word in particular?
I absolutely can. And the word is potentiality. It gets thrown around a lot lately, but it dates back really to Aristotle. And it's the inherent capacity to grow or come into being, right? And if you think about that, what was something that was at the beginning of each of the furniture flourishing? It was a flower opening, right? It's each of our own capacity to grow and come into being, right? And then when we come into being, then we can truly start to push that forward. And so potentiality definitely came out for me. And, it's, I think it supports, what is not only how we grow through the arcs and the whole construct of the future of flourishing, but where we're going.
I love that word choice. I'm going to start integrating that. Good one.
Yeah.
If somebody were to call you and ask why they should enroll in Flourish, what would you tell them?
Well, I think first I'd find out where they're at, but then I would tell them that, this program is unique in the way that it starts at the beginning, which is kind of looking inside, we're developing insight, from there, we're moving towards, what are my dreams? What are my goals? What's out there? And then how am I going to create those? And then, once I've established that, then how am I going to actually see them through and ascend towards that future potential? And I also mentioned to them that, the opportunity that's provided within this construct is unique in the sense that everything is presented in a manner that can be used over and over, like we talked about, for specific near-term goals, but it can also be used for that life purpose.
I love that. And it's even a conversation that our team was having on the back end of describing flourishing as really being those moment to moment sort of experiences, not necessarily always the whole big picture.
Yeah.
So from I guess in terms of as a personal leadership program, do you think that the investment in Flourish was worthwhile, and why?
I do. And I honestly can't remember how much it was, but it's totally worth it, because I personally believe that when you find unique opportunities, just as, I have spoken to people, about, just the potential for well-being and flourishing in general. And then when you see a program like this come along, just as I see the value and benefit of coaching, when we have all, when we see what's available out there, and the fact that you're able to invest in not only yourself, but you're investing in your community because it's how you show up. And so, yeah, it was definitely worthwhile. Yeah.
And what would you say you loved the most about your Flourish experience? What stood out for you?
What stood out? I would say, it was really powerful was the connections, the modality and the program, the way it was structured, the arcs really was of so much value to me, and diving into each of the elements. And truly, I think that at the end, the piece that really just invigorated me more than anything was thinking about future self and this opportunity to utilize a method that in the end you come out really inspired to support that growth. And whether it was John Vitale, and his, developing that kind of alignment for that visual and audio to auditory alignment potential, was just, that blew my mind as far as an opportunity. And so things like that, hearing these methods that we can utilize that are fully within the capacity of the program itself, just opens doors to, the next steps, I guess you'd say. But yeah, it's I would say that that's really what stood out for me.
All right, so last question to wrap it up is, what challenges do you see on the horizon for others experiencing the same or a similar problem, or I guess state of being in life, and how do you see Flourish helping with that?
Yeah, this is the $1 million question, right? I think that generally mental health starts with self-awareness, right? And if we're able to develop good, strong emotional intelligence, our build our psychological or cognitive capacity to recognize our emotional state, our sense of relationship with others, how and what we envision as being possible. And instead of seeing or feeling that that is not available to me, and instead seeing that it's available to everyone. And just as as it was presented in the course, like flow, for example, is a completely free and infinite resource that's available to any person.